Hello everyone, we are going to start a new portion which is in page number 21. We are going to discuss about the object of the verb today. So what is an object of the verb? Object of the verb is either a word, a noun, or any other word which is acting as a noun, or it can also be a group of words which is doing the work of a noun and it is helping the verb in the main verb in the sentence to complete the meaning of the sentence. Simply, that is the definition of an object. Now object can be of two types. One is direct object and one is indirect object. Now which type of sentences will have object? Now verbs, since I already mentioned in the definition that verbs and objects are hand in hand, right? They go hand in hand because only a verb can have an object to help to complete the meaning of the sentence. So if we divide a verb into, classify a verb into transitive and intransitive verb, then we have to remember that only transitive verbs can take objects and intransitive verbs do not require objects to complete the meaning of the sentence. In the last video I have already asked you to refresh your memories about transitive and intransitive verb. I have written two examples with the help of which I am going to show you how to identify transitive and intransitive verb. Let's look at the book first. What does the book tell us about the object of a verb? Page number 21. It says, when we use a verb transitively, we need an object to make the meaning of the sentence complete. Transitive verbs need an object to complete their meaning. So this becomes rule number 1, that transitive verbs need an object to complete their meaning. After this, they have given an example which I have written here and I am going to explain right now. So let's look at transitive, intransitive verb as well as the object. So I am taking the same example I have used in the previous video, birds fly, and the second example from the book, I threw the ball. Now let us straight away identify the verb first. First sentence the verb is fly and in the second sentence the verb is threw. So the book tells us that this is the transitive verb and fly is the intransitive verb. This is what I am telling you. This example is not in the book. So how do we see that object is helping the verb? If we simply look at the first example, birds fly, is the meaning of the sentence complete? Of course it is. This makes meaning as a complete sentence. Birds fly. We do not need to add any extra information to it. This sentence does not require anything else to complete its meaning. Hence we call the verb fly here has been used as an intransitive verb. Whereas let us look at the second sentence from the book. The sentence is I threw the ball. Now if I omit this part, what is remaining? It remains I threw. Now I threw, does it make complete sense? It does not, right? So the verb threw requires some extra words to complete the meaning of the sentence, to make the sentence meaningful, to make it a complete sentence. So we supply the ball. I threw the ball. Now the sentence becomes complete. So hence this can be called the ball. The ball can be called as the object of the verb. And what type of verb has an object? Transitive verb, not an intransitive verb. So transitive verbs always require the help of an object to complete the meaning of the sentence. Okay. Now this object of the verb is not related to the subject. It just depends on it is just helping the main verb here. Sometimes what happens is the object, just like we have studied in the subject part, that the subject has attributes, the object also has attributes. Just like we have a subject word, we also have the main object. Here the main object is the noun ball and the attribute is the definite article the. Sometimes we may have more than two words. For example, in this sentence we have 3 words, but we will come to it shortly. Let's look at the book again and underline the important parts. So then you come to the third paragraph, which is your rule number 2, where we are told that the object of a transitive verb may be the following. What are the things? Classifications. It can be a noun, it can be a pronoun. or it can be an adjective that does the work of a noun. It can be a gerund, or it can be an infinitive that does the work of a noun. It can also be a group of words doing the work of a noun, or a noun clause. So basically all of them have something to do with a noun. So that means mostly and always the object of a verb will have something to do with a noun. Okay, so we have to remember this rule 1 and rule 2. These are very important to understand the object of a verb. Moving to the next page, we have been given is when an object consists of more than one word, we have the object word. Just now I have explained the object word is the ball, which is a noun, and its attributes, just like we have attributes for the subject word. The example given is the mother scolded the naughty child. So we have the example written down on the board. So let us look at it. Let us, since now we know what is the subject, what are subject attributes, what is a predicate, what is a verb, and also what are the attributes, what is basically an object and its attributes. So let's divide this sentence from the beginning. Let's first divide it into subject and predicate. Where will you divide it? We'll divide it after mother here. So this is the subject part and this is the predicate part. What is the subject word here? The subject word is mother and the attribute is the, which is a definite article, or you can simply write an article. So we are done with the subject part, right? Let's move on to the predicate part. This entire part is the predicate. I have denoted P to stand for predicate. So now let's look at this. What do we have in the predicate? First and foremost, a predicate is always going to have a verb. If nothing else, if there is simply one word, we have also studied the rule. Sentence 1, only one word in the predicate, and the predicate has to be a verb. So we are going to look for the verb first. What is the verb here? The verb is scolded, right? And again, let's apply the previous thing. If I remove this part, the mother scolded, does it make complete sense? It does not. So we need additional information to complete the meaning of the sentence. Hence we supply the phrase the naughty child. So now that means the naughty child is what? It is the object. Okay, object of the verb. I'm just writing object here, but it is the object of the verb. So now what will be the object word? The object word, as we have already read in rule number 2, has to do something with a noun. Can you see a noun here? I can see it. It's child. So this is noun, which is the object word, right? So then what is the use of these two words? These are, just like in subject we had subject attributes, these two are the object attributes, additional information about the object word. So if we classify them, this the, again same as before, will become your definite article, and naughty here, since it is qualifying the child, which is a noun, what type of child? A naughty child. So anything which qualifies a noun is your adjective. So we have all the attributes of the object. Clear? So this is how we are supposed to do or solve the exercises. Divide into subject. So basically whatever we have studied so far, everything can be understood with the help of this example. Subject and predicate, subject word, subject attribute, we have the verb in the predicate. What type of verb? Scolded. Because it has taken an object, definitely it has to be a transitive verb. Okay, so and then transitive verb, we have identified the object and also the object attributes. Clear? So this is how we are supposed to go about it. Now we are going to the next part. The next part tells us about direct and indirect object. Basically or normally, when we get a sentence and there is only one object, we are going to call it an object of the verb. But sometimes it happens that a verb has two objects. Only in those cases we have to identify which object is the direct object and which object is the indirect object. How do we do that? Let us look at your book. Look at the book again, page number 22, direct and indirect objects. Rule number 1 again tells us very often we require two objects with a transitive verb. So very often, not always, we require two objects with a transitive verb. And they have given an example. Payal gave Rupa a book, already written down. I'm going to explain in a moment. Skip to the third paragraph, sorry, the last paragraph, which tells us the answer to the question what is the direct object, and often the indirect object comes before the direct object. So this is your rule number 2. Now let us look at the explanation of this. How do we identify the direct and the indirect object? So the example given in the book is that Payal gave Rupa a book. Again, let us divide into subject and predicate. We have divided it into subject and predicate, right? So how do we identify that there are two objects? Simply because if we again omit this part, Payal gave does not make sense. If we omit this part, Payal gave Rupa makes half sense, and if we use Payal gave Rupa a book makes complete sense. So here, how do we know that there are two objects and which is the direct object and indirect object? So what we do, the rule is you use the question what with the subject of the word and the verb of the word. This will give us the direct object. And if you want to find the indirect object, we have to ask the question whom along with the subject of the sentence and the verb of the sentence. So what is the subject of the sentence? Payal. What is the verb in the sentence? Gave. So let us combine this. What Payal gave. What is the answer? Payal gave a book. So this formula gives us what? The direct object. And if we ask whom Payal gave, subject is Payal and verb is gave. So I am combining them together and asking the question with the whom word. Whom Payal gave Rupa. The answer is Rupa. So Rupa becomes your indirect object. So this is the easiest way to identify the direct and indirect object. So now your job is to look at the book and also this explanation and read it as many times as you need to understand it very properly, and then you are going to move to the exercise D, which has only 6 sentences, and you are going to solve it. Please write down the rules in your copy clearly like you have already done for the previous sections, and in case of any doubts, please post them in the comment section below. Okay, the next video will be on the complement, and that will bring us to the end of the chapter. So thank you and have a safe day.